Hello and welcome to the Rugby Quebec Laws mini course. This month we'll be talking about the Scrum, and this course will be focused a bit more on the refereeing aspect of the Scrum, more so than some previous ones, which were just general understanding of specific aspects. So it'll be focused a bit more towards referees and understanding what referees are looking for in the Scrum. The first thing we look for, and our first key to success for any Scrum, is all in the setup. So are all the props square? That means, do we see six shoulders? Are they facing forward? Are the shoulders forward? Are the hips forward? Or do we have angles? Is there space in the scrum on bind? Is there stability in the scrum? So when we say crouch, does everyone stop moving? When we say bind, does everyone stop moving? If we're not stable, as soon as we say set, we're going to have a mess. And then the last thing which helps with that stability is now that World Rugby's brought in the break foot. So in this video, you can see the hooker, this green hooker has a break foot forward. So that's the break foot. So if we watch this, we actually have good stability, crouch, and no one's moving, through bind, all the feet move back and we have stability again, and then we can say set and we come together. And then we can get the ball going in and the ball will come out. So this gives you an idea of what a referee is looking for on setup. And then between the setup and set is kind of what I talk about with the following things that we're looking for. So the first three are things we're trying to avoid. So the first is axial loading, which is something that was a big trend a few years ago. So that's when you put the top of your head against your opponent's shoulders, and that's very bad for your neck. And it also destabilizes the scrum as soon as we say set, because you're going to slip underneath, and there's more chance of a scrum going down because of that. The second thing is overleaning, so that's pre-engaging, I guess, is kind of how we used to refer to it. So that's when it's a bit more than pre-engaging. It's also when your feet are too far back, so you're not able to support your weight. So in that situation, you're going to tend to see a scrum falling forward, or if it makes it a set, then it's going to tend to fall and collapse as well. And the last thing is fighting for binds. So the props know where their binds need to go, and that's something I talk about in my pregame. So you know where your bind goes, find the bind. Don't fight for that space. And the last thing is we want to maintain horizontal elbows. So anytime we see elbows pointing down, it signals that there's a good chance that a prop is gonna be pulling down as well. So we want to try to see those elbows horizontal to the ground. So here we'll see white is just overleaning. You see the loose head prop number one. If we watch that one again, his feet are just way too far back, and there's no way for him to hold himself up. So this is a good free kick because it's before the ball's introduced. And the last thing is once the ball's in, we want to see a scrum push straight. So in this situation, we're going to see the gold tight head. So that's the right prop, the one that's closest to us. He's going to go in. It's good. As soon as the ball comes in, he's going to turn sideways and he's going to push straight across. So this is a good penalty. We're going to see it from a couple other angles. The last one gives us the best angle for seeing him really coming across. There's really no attempt by Gold here to try to push forward. He's trying to push, but he's got nowhere to go. So in this angle, we'll see it best. Number 18 here. As soon as the ball goes in, he comes across and he just pushes straight sideways. So we had a few questions submitted by the public. So what are and why do we have uncontested scrums? So there's a few scenarios, but uncontested scrums are scrums where there's no longer a properly trained front row on the field, or there's a major safety issue in the front rows. So an uncontested scrum is a scrum, so you'll have all 8 players come together, but there's no pushing, so any player theoretically can play in the front row. And the team that puts the ball in will always win the ball. The next one is when is the ball out? So we get this question somewhat frequently. It's either once it's beyond all the feet in the scrum, or once the ball is lifted to be played by the scrum half or the 8-man. So if the 8-man unbinds and picks up, then the ball is out. So the 8-man has to stay bound as well. Where's the scrum half offside line? So the scrum half offside line is 2 feet behind the ball at all times. And then you must also stay outside of the width of the flanker. So wherever the flanker is, you have to stay outside of the flanker. Which side does the scrum half put the ball in? That's personal preference for the scrum half. Usually it's on the left side of the scrum as you're attacking, so the loose head side, because your hooker is closer, but realistically you could put it on either side. And it's really up to the scrum half, and they could switch every single scrum if they wanted to. And last one is, why is it sometimes a free kick and sometimes a penalty? So as a general rule, free kicks happen before the ball is put into the scrum. So in theory, the ball is still out of play. Play hasn't been resumed and the ball hasn't been put into play. So typically a free kick is for those infringements. So usually they're technical infringements, setup infringements. And then once the ball's been put in play, you have collapsing scrums or being unbound early, scrum halves offside. So those would all be penalty infringements, and it's once the ball's been put into the scrum. So thank you, and as mentioned, there won't be a quiz this month, so we'll see you all next month for the open play and 10-meter laws course. And don't forget to send any questions to the email you see on screen, or feel free to throw them in the Facebook group that we have for the Rugby Quebec referees. Thank you.